This was the Bethesda Microsoft show. It's the first time Bethesda's been on the stage with Microsoft post the acquisition of their parent company ZeniMax. And so we got to see God Howard walk out on stage and give a little spiel, of course, as well as Pete Hines, and then old Phil Spencer. So we had the holy trinity of Microsoft right now up on stage talking about various things. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, where it was going to be basically like a block of Bethesda and then a block of Xbox stuff. They kind of weaved the two together a bit and spread it out. But we've got some of the top things here that we saw at the show anyway. So we got to see a very brief look at the in-engine, or what seemed to be an in-engine trailer for Starfield. That's Bethesda's space game that's been, rumor milled to fucking death for ages now. And we saw like very scant screenshots that we talked about in the podcast a while back. So we finally got to see some in-engine footage. And, it's still running on the Creation Engine 2, Jeff, which, as we all know, is a rebrand of Gamebryo. And, yeah, they've definitely obviously built that out substantially over the years. But I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a lot of the same bugs that we've been getting ever since Morrowind in this game, unless they've really gone to town on hammering those out. So, for what it's worth, it did look good. But I'm going to say it looked good for a Bethesda game. I'm going to put that asterisk there. It did not blow me away. There are some games that were shown off in this E3 that blew me away. Starfield was not one of them. And that game is a ways away from releasing yet. So by the time it comes out, hopefully they can polish that bad boy up and make it shine some more. But for now, didn't look like anything crazy. All the same, I'm interested because it's the first new IP from Bethesda in over 15 years. So we're getting something new. We should just support them in making new shit, please. I'm not saying that you go buy the game, just, give Todd Howard a slap on the back. The poor bastard didn't even have his leather bomber jacket on, Jeff. They stole it from him. He's got to earn it back. I'm pretty sure Phil Spencer has it in his closet, and he told him that he'll get it back after he makes a good video game. I'm pretty sure that's where they're at with that right now. So after that, we got Sea of Thieves, which is quietly kind of in the background doing really well. Like, there's quite a sizable community that plays Sea of Thieves, and it's actually got a pretty dedicated community on Twitch as well. Some major names. I still think Summit plays a substantial amount of it once in a while. Amongst others, but all the same, even off Twitch, just, not everything is Twitch bound. Very popular game, for sure. And, it's getting I don't want to say it's an unlikely combo because it's like the most likely if you were to write it on paper, it's the one that makes the most sense, but I also didn't expect to see it. So Sea of Thieves is getting a crossover with Pirates of the Caribbean, including, and this is the one that really blew my fucking tits off, Johnny Depp reprising his role as Jack Sparrow. That is something that I didn't think I was going to see. Video game form, TV form, movie form, any form, outside of the movies he's already done. I didn't expect any of that. And this isn't, they didn't take sound bites from the movies and like plug them into the game. This is entirely new. This whole piece of content is quite expansive. It includes more than just Johnny. There's a couple of characters from the films that have reprised their roles, or actors have reprised their roles for this. And you know what? It looked pretty fucking good. And the writing was great, and it looked fun. Pirates is fun for me. I love watching the Pirates movies. And while I'm not like the world's biggest fan of Sea of Thieves, just from a game perspective, it looked really fucking good. And it was like, on paper, I can't even think of another property that would make sense beyond Pirates of the Caribbean for them to do a crossover with, but they did it. And so we're getting it. And my personal hope is that if Disney is dipping their toes in the water with him doing that, then they'll consider putting him back on a screen somewhere as Jack Sparrow, because fuck me if they try and replace that man as Jack Sparrow, it's going to be abysmal. Is it possible to replace him?
I think they just need to let the property die. They're obviously not.
Well, they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
I don't see Johnny Depp being the face of pirates anymore.
I'm just going to hold on to hope because I've got nothing else in life, Jeff. I have to hold on. Hold on.
It's not gonna happen.
Then we got Battlefield 2042 gameplay. So Microsoft was where we got that gameplay. There was the trailer announcement the trailer game. No, it wasn't gameplay trailer. It was like a CG trailer. Did you catch that at any point after it launched last week?
No. I did see the trailer that they showed at E3.
Okay, so it was the gameplay one or the
gameplay one.
Okay, so you just saw the gameplay one, so we don't have to rewatch it then, if that's the case. They did that, and then Microsoft got got in first and said, all right, we're gonna show off the gameplay. So they did, and you know what? It looked pretty good. It looked like Battlefield, which it looked like Battlefield with grappling guns. Everyone's putting a grappling gun in their game now. That's a very in mechanic. What really fucking blew my mind, no pun intended, was like the tornado shit at the end and how everything was interacting with the tornado. If that's actually how it's going to play out in game, if we're seeing people flying helicopters but they're still in the helicopter and that bitch is getting whipped around by a fucking tornado and people are also caught up in that shit in the midst of a game, that's just wild. That's dope. Nobody ever done that shit before. That's gonna be crazy. And then, of course, when you consider how much destruction the Battlefield engines tend to allow for, and how much they're likely going to try and double down on that for this release, because it's purely multiplayer. There is no single player. This is a full-priced game. 70 US, probably 80 Canadian or some shit. No single player. They're going all in on multiplayer. And it also has battle passes that you pay for as well. So they must be astronomically confident in their ability to put together a very compelling multiplayer experience. And really, I like that they're doing this because if they fail, it's just done. There's not going to be any questions anymore. If you're going to go in as DICE, which for years were known as near the top, if not some of the kings of multiplayer shooters for developers, and then you're going to say, okay, this is your last shot, we're going to do multiplayer only, absolutely zero single player. You don't have to think about single player at all. All you have to focus on is making the most fucking dope Battlefield multiplayer experience of all time, where you have brand new hardware to work with and only just scale down so that the 4 people that are dumb enough to play this shit on the Xbox One or the PS4 can do that, but otherwise just go fucking nuts. If they can't pull it off and they're going to charge full price for a multiplayer only game, they're done. Battlefield will be done. People are just like, so few people will give a fuck about Battlefield after that, it'll be over. But if they do it, if they hit a home run, well, they're back in the fucking game. You can convince people to spend $80 on a multiplayer-only game that also has paid-for battle passes. The amount of W's that you won't be able to hold will be fucking infinite at that point. So, while I'm very skeptical that putting out a multiplayer-only game for full price in 2021 is something that anyone is capable of pulling off, in a world where Warzone and other games exist right now for free or half that price, I will be most interested in how this bitch sells. What are your thoughts on a multiplayer-only game in the first-person shooter category in 2021 going up against the free-to-play market? Do you think it's doable? Do you think it will allow them to provide a more premium experience that will make it worth it? Or do you think it's just going to shoot them, it's like shooting themselves in the foot?
Man, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't all that impressed with the gameplay trailer.
It just looked like Battlefield. It was the destruction that I was blown away with. That's literally blown away with.
It's a gameplay trailer, but it was very scripted still.
Of course.
It was a very scripted, like just showing very, like you can tell they've done 30 takes to like get the right thing to blow up at the right thing, and
you still gotta make it look good.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think I think this game's gonna fail. I think making it full price for multiplayer in 2021
it's a bold move.
It's dumb. Because that barrier to entry is it's too expensive. And I think
it should reduce hacking, though. If there's any upside to it, a full price for if you get banned and you're another $80 in the fucking hole, getting your hands on the game, that's a bit of a deterrent.
Listen, man, if it was free to play, if they made a solo campaign, and they said, okay, here's the solo campaign, it's pay to play. It's kind of like what Halo's doing, where it's just like you can pay for the campaign or you can just jump in for free multiplayer. I think they have a leg to stand on. Because that $80 barrier or $60 depending on where you're from, that's going to deter a lot of people from just picking it up and playing it. And it's still going to sell copies for sure. Like, it's still going to sell, but I don't think it's going to do what just judging from the past Battlefields we've got and how lackluster they were, and just even have staying power, dude. Like they were in and out in like a week on Twitch, like in and out. People just like immediately realize like, okay, Call of Duty's better. Okay, PUBG's better. Okay, Fortnite's better. Like, they just didn't care. Times are a little bit different now because it's like, the community is kind of looking for their next thing to get into. It was more Battlefield, but I have a feeling, and there were parts in there that it seemed choppy as well. Like, there was a lot going on. It looked like it was like dipped down to 30 frames a second. Like, shit looked choppy as fuck in certain spots. And I think there's too much going on. I agree. I think the weather thing is a cool add-on. I think we need more of that in video games where, you got that element that you just can't control. But once again, I don't know if that is like a scripted thing where it's just like, instead of, the circles closing in on people, maybe there's more tornadoes that come down and push people away.
Well, the tornado, right? The storm incoming thing, based on the trailer stuff that we saw, it's obviously scripted. I mean, it's not going to be completely random. I don't know if it would happen at the same minute mark every game or some shit. That would be kind of lame. But it's obviously an agent of chaos, so to speak. Not to get ahead of ourselves, talk about the Final Fantasy game, but an agent of chaos, for sure. And I agree. It's also, the circle in BRs is more or less to force people closer and closer together because of the size of the maps and the number of players playing the game. So it's not really serving the same purpose, but what it does do is it changes for lack of a better word, it changes the battlefield, right? Yeah. So you can't just rely on the same tactic for the entire match when a fucking big-ass tornado shows up.
It's cool. It's a cool idea.
I think I need to see more gameplay, though. I agree. I think I need to see a little bit more gameplay, like actual gameplay.
Listen, man. I have like a little kid inside me that gets a little giggity when I see Battlefield.
Yeah.
But I have to check that kid because I've been burned so many times by Battlefield, and it's kind of like if a new Star Wars trailer came out, and part of you just wants to love it. It's like, oh, okay, maybe this will be it. And then you realize, like, it's likely not going to be it. It's just going to be more Star Wars and what they've done to it. And it's like sort of what they've done to Battlefield. And the closest thing that I could say is this on how I feel about it. We'll see it when it comes out.
I think that's what you have to treat it like, right?
That is it.
Because the last two have been so lackluster. Yeah. Like 4 was the last, in my opinion, 4 was the last true amazing Battlefield. 5 missed the mark a bit, and then everything after 5 was in a different fucking universe of dog shit. Just lost their way.
It's going to be these things where it's just like, you know what? Yeah, there's some cool concepts in here, but guys, remember, this is Battlefield. How well are the vehicles going to be balanced? There's a lot of fucking shit going on in there. I can see this game being a fucking mess. Just so much going on. Nothing's
I'm
balanced
okay.
correctly.
I'm okay
It's
with it. A
just-
lot going on. A lot of that depends on the map design, which is why Battlefield 4 was so good. There was still a lot going on in Battlefield 4, because Battlefield 4 was still destruction heavy, but the map design is really the thing that makes and breaks arguably any first-person shooter competitively online. Like any shooter, the map is basically 80% of it. The shooting can even be kind of dog shit as long as the fucking map design is pretty good. So yeah, but we definitely need to see more.
Yeah,
I
we'll
need to
see.
see more gameplay. And we
just
will.
see. I need to play it. I need to or see a streamer play this game, and before I make a decision if I'd ever buy it, because as of right now, there's not a chance in fuck I'm spending $80 to play Battlefield. It's just not happening. If it was free to play, downloading first day, I'm going to try it out.
Yeah.
But now that it's a full price game, it's not that I can't afford to buy it. I just refuse to give them my money. This shit better be fucking good. Because you're in a market where everything is free to play. Like even AAA titles for battle royales and these online things is all free to play. The fact that you're putting a paywall and there isn't a single solo campaign at all, like there's no story. Oh man, this shit better do things.
Which is kind of funny if you think about it, because I mean the campaigns were never like more than 5 hours long. Same with Call of Duty. Nobody's buying Battlefield or old COD games for the solo campaign. Everyone's gonna dump 500 hours into multiplayer.
Of course, but with COD, they did have solid campaigns, and you know that it was gonna be a 4 to 10 hour experience. But they were good. You just felt better about it. Like you buy the game, you spend 95%. Well, that's just it.
There's a part of your brain that goes, "It's okay that I'm spending this much on a game that the campaign's only that short, because at least it's there." Like this is like the first time where they're most shooters, whatever, if they don't have a campaign, you're buying them for like $49, $39. Yeah. I don't think I can think of another game that's been multiplayer only, full fucking price, right off the rip. That's a very steep thing.
Godspeed, and they don't even have a good track record. So
no,
I think Halo's doing it right. Yeah. In terms of their attack on it. Battlefield, I sense a disaster, my dude.
And not just a tornado.
Yeah, no, I sense it's not gonna be good.
After that, speaking of it's not good, Bethesda, for whatever fucking reason, is committing so hard to Fallout 76, they're committing content well into 2022.
Just let it die, man.
It has to be making the money, right? Obviously. Well, yeah. For them to continue that deep into 2022, there have to be enough insane people.
Yeah. Well, I think now also it's all part of their Xbox Pass shit, right? So I think like it's turning into a Netflix thing where they're willing to dump fuckloads of money.
You know what's funny? You want a funny stat?
Projects.
It's the top, if it's not the top, it's in the top 3 downloaded Game Pass games.
There you go, right? So I guarantee you, dude, they're taking a page out of Netflix playbook, and they are just keeping people engaged. Because listen, if you play Fallout 76 and you have a mediocre time, which is probably what you're going to have, right? I know we're very pessimistic about Fallout 76 and we laugh about the memes.
I mean, rightfully so.
Yeah, and rightfully so. But I'm sure if the majority of people that play this game probably enjoy it to a degree, like there are some redeeming qualities. If not, why in the fuck would it have so many downloads and people continue to play it? So like, obviously, as a casual, it seems like it's probably an okay time at best, or at worst, I should say, like an okay time. So if they have that much traction, and these people were spending the $30 a month or 15, whatever the fuck it is for this battle pass or this Game Pass, why wouldn't they spend a few $1 million on continuing to upload content? Because once people finish their content, they're going to move on to the next thing on Battle Pass or play multiple things. As soon as they announce some more stuff, people are going to revisit it. And as they revisit Fallout 76, they have to continue to keep their memberships going. It's the same thing what Netflix does. And they're pumping in billions of dollars a year, and they're losing money. They're literally going in debt every year to continue to build up the subscription base because they know that they're going to start monetizing people over time. Prices of the battle pass is going to go up, or the game pass is going to keep going up. More content's going to go. They're going to find out ways to extract more money from you. I wouldn't be surprised if they start adding in ads in these things. Once they get an even bigger thing going on here, they're going to completely monetize this whole infrastructure. And right now they're just throwing money into it, and it's working. It's literally working. People feel like they're getting value. It doesn't matter if you're just a Fallout fan. If you're just a whatever game they have on there. You're as a fan, like I could buy this Game Pass today and feel like I'm getting my money's worth day one, and I'll feel like I'm getting my money's worth next month, especially if they keep updating games and adding content and throwing in new games on top of that. How do you not subscribe to this thing? So why not? It seems like a good investment for them. It just does.
I am mind fucked that that enough people downloaded Fallout 76 for them to continue it really is indicative of just, the fact so let's assume that the game is even passable right now. It was obviously and shown to be categorically fucking broken in every conceivable way at launch, and for the longest time afterwards. Like, unplayable. Literally unplayable.
Yep.
And they borderline got sued for, like, the collector's edition shit and everything else that happened around it. And I urge anyone that hasn't already seen it, go watch the Internet Historian's recap of Fallout 76. It will blow... If you haven't seen it, you'll laugh your ass off, and it will also blow your fucking mind. So the fact that there's so many people that have stuck around or have gotten into it, obviously a lot of people are only getting into it because they're not paying for it because they have Game Pass.
Yep.
It's very indicative that enough people stuck with it, despite it being so shit, how much people put value in certain game series. And Fallout is obviously one of those series. Yep. If Fallout 76 can be successful, literally any video game should think to themselves they can be successful, but that's not the case. Look at what happened to Cyberpunk.
It's the name, man.
Look
it's the name.
Look at Cyberpunk 2077 came from CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
That couldn't do anything wrong. The world sucking these guys' dicks on a daily basis about Witcher and all of the great things they did with The Witcher. And then Cyberpunk, the most hype fucking game of all time, far surpassing what No Man's Sky had back in the fucking day, comes out, and it's so fucking broken and busted and shittier than anyone ever thought, which is not really any different from Fallout 76, except Fallout 76 had far less expectations. People stuck with Fallout 76. Dude, Cyberpunk died. It went into a hole and died.
Yeah, but it didn't have a franchise, right? People aren't emotionally attached to Cyberpunk. That's the problem, right?
So that's
people are emotionally attached to Bethesda and Fallout.
Yes.
And that infrastructure. And so, there will be fans that will kind of pretend like the game is not bad, even though it is. There'll be fans that will just blindly enjoy anything because they're very, very casual. And if they're enjoying it, they're enjoying it. And then you've got the Bethesda fans that are like, you know what? Yeah, it's fucking bad right now, but I'll wait until they patch it and they fix it, and then I'll play the game.
How frustrating must that be for other developers and publishers that see that kind of like what some developers and publishers get away with, and then have their game not get away with like 1/1000th of what they do? But yeah. Anyway, Fallout 76 into 2022. So for the people still playing it, buckle up. More's coming. Following that, we had, of course, one of the big ones. Halo Infinite got its new trailer showing off actual in-game shit again. Just like Battlefield, though, obviously entirely scripted gameplay for the sake of the trailer. But the important part is that visually it is what the game was going to look like. They just did everything in engine and fucking threw a bunch of grenades and shit and did all the cool shit that nobody's ever gonna fucking do. They did make a very specific call out though to the classic throw a plasma grenade behind a weapon and blow it towards you to fuck on somebody, which, you know, 5 people on Earth have ever actually pulled off, and they're mostly professionals, but it's a cool idea, and it was always fun to watch professionals pull that shit off when it did work. You said that you saw it.
I did,
you?
yeah.
Did you watch it? All right, so we don't have to watch it here.
I mean, we can watch it again.
We can watch it again? All right, let's watch it again to refresh our memories here, and then we'll give a little breakdown on this, because this is obviously, for Microsoft and for Halo, this second showing is obviously arguably more important than any other content that will come after this. Because if they didn't nail this one, people's interest level would have just fucking evaporated, right? So this was their shot. So let me get this trailers page up here. All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
A new day is upon us. A new generation built to fight. Together, we are unstoppable. Are you ready?
So the first thing that I felt when I saw this opening, compared to the last one, is that this feels like Halo, where the last trailer we saw felt nothing like Halo. Even though this is scripted, all of this feels like Halo to me. Got salty as fuck.
Hello, let's do some damage. Skewer acquired. Claim the enemy flag.
And just visually in general, this was kind of the map that we saw in that first trailer. This is them saying, hey guys, we know it looked like doo-doo butter the first time around, but we polished the doo-doo butter up a bit for the second one.
The flag is ours. Please haul ass at your earliest convenience.
That last, I really like that last shot. The fucking guy with the flag on the side of the warthog. That's a very iconic look.
Now, show me what you can do.
There it is. The call out. You do feel like an absolute god when you pull that shit off in a Halo match, though, I'm not gonna lie. Not that I've personally ever been able to do it. I have tried. I've never actually made it work. But I made an attempt. You know, some people call me pessimistic. I'm pretty sure Fox in chat was one of my mods, my lovely British duo, the Tea Drinkers. He might actually be the most bitter and fucking jaded person I think I know, and he's only like 24. I thought I was bad at 24. I'm only 32 now. I'm an asshole, but he might actually legitimately just shrivel up and fucking turn into a salt cube before he's 30. Just everything is ass. That's, to be fair, he grew up watching us from the 13 years or some fucking years
Grew
old.
up watching you, Adam. He grew up watching you, right?
He chose poorly. He chose poorly. So what did you what did you think? What were your thoughts? What are your thoughts after seeing that? No, well, now I guess the second time.
I think it's the best showing Halo can do right now. I think they got to win here.
You're calling it a dub?
If I'm just being honest, right?
Is it a lowercase dub or is it an uppercase dub?
I think it's an uppercase dub. I think they showed up because what they showed before was asinine.
That was an uppercase L.
It was so bad it hurt my soul, along with everybody else's. And I think they came with this specific trailer, showing everybody, hey, it doesn't look like ass. It feels like Halo. I think some of the sound effects they use probably aren't in the game.
Which one specifically?
There was just a few like, dum, 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 like
Oh,
just
the
like
stuff that go along with the trailer music.
like I feel like that really added to.
It was trailer. It was they do it in the movies. It's the same
Yeah,
thing.
it's
It's the gunfire to
yeah,
the you know.
like it was a cool trailer. It was a cool in-game trailer. It was scripted, but you know, it's one of those things that like it showed you sort of the feel of what the game is. I like the fact it's free to play. So when something's free to play, right, you can't really bitch. Like, go and try it out.
You got nothing to lose.
You know, this isn't like Battlefield, right? This is a much better showing than Battlefield, in my opinion. And it's not saying that Battlefield did a bad showing. If they came out and said it's free to play,
that's just a better showing.
It's just a better showing, right? I think that would be a small dub, right? You know, part of me, once again, like Star Wars, Halo has a thing in my heart where, you know, part of me goes,
but I've been burned before.
I want this, but I've been burned before and several times. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm going to say this again. I know it's kind of cheating, but we'll see. I mean, what more? Like, this is the absolute. If I had to show off Halo, what more could I ask for as a fan? You know, what more could I ask for? I can't think of, I wish they would have done this or showed that. They showed everything they need to show. They showed Halo, and
they got a new vehicle in there. They obviously got like some other new mechanics they're showing off with the grappling hook, the ability to grapple flying vehicles to get rid of people out of them so they can't just, you know, forever running around in a fucking Banshee, or unless you got a rocket launcher or some shit. You know what I noticed, or what I really liked, was, you know, you always, since they started doing it, customizing your Spartan was always fun for me. I liked making, you know, my Spartan look different from the other Spartans in the game. Halo 3 was probably the one that really started to heavily invest in that as a thing in the multiplayer. And the Spartans they showed off were obviously very, well, they varied a lot. They were substantially different from one another, but they still looked like Spartans. Halo 5 tried to do that, and it looked nothing like a fucking Spartan. It looked like some B-rated sci-fi action shit. These looked like Spartans, no matter how kind of out there the outfit, you know, even the classic samurai helmet, it still looked like Spartans, and I think that was a cool thing to see for me. The other little thing that when I first saw the trailer, I heard, but I didn't really understand until they talked about it afterwards, the day after, when they talked about it more with the devs, is you'll hear you're not just hearing the classic Halo announcer voice in there doing that shit. There were other voices in there, and that's because you're going to be able to also select from a series of voices the AI that plays for various other audio cues to customize that yourself. So that if you'll have another thing that they can add to help you have your experience be more personal to you. The biggest thing, I think, other than it being free to play, is that something else it's doing uniquely is the battle passes don't expire, and they're always available. There's no FOMO, so they're not putting them out and saying you've got X days to buy this battle pass and X days to complete the battle pass to get everything out of it. They put out a battle pass, it's there, you buy it if you want it, to get the stuff that's in it, and you have, at your own time, your own pace, to unlock everything that's in the battle pass, and you're done. So there's no more freaking the fuck out, oh, I've got to dedicate my life to this fucking game, to grind out the experience, to fill it out, and if you miss it, and you want to go back and get something later, the battle passes are still there, you still have to put in the time, but it's on your clock now. It's not like this you're not feeling pressured to buy it every single time. And I think that's actually substantial. I think that's something that will probably set the tone for other games to do similar shit in the future, because once people get a taste of that and not having to like feel this anxiety of missing out on battle passes and the stuff that are in them because they can't dedicate that much time to a singular game, I think they're going to want to see that in other games, and it will actually start to show up in other titles as well. In general, I felt very positive about it. It's hard not to after the first trailer was so fucking bad. It's kind of like but like you said, what else What more could you ask for? It certainly felt like Halo versus the first trailer that didn't really feel like Halo. This felt legitimately like Halo. And but it still felt like it wasn't Halo from 2005. It felt like there's something new going on here, but it still feels like Halo, which is like we've talked about the podcast several times, probably one of the most difficult juggling acts you could think of is how the fuck do you modernize Halo without completely changing what Halo is? And so that's no small task. So if they pull it off, incredible.
Great.
And the great news is we're not going to have to pay a bunch of money to find out if they pulled it off. Shit's going to be free.
Yep.
You have to spend money for the campaign, which is also coming at the end of the year. Both of these are slated for holiday of this year. Whether or not they hit the holiday, fucking Lord only knows. But yeah, that will be, obviously you'll spend some money for the campaign stuff, but definitely the right move, free to play for that multiplayer. And I look forward to seeing more. Obviously, Microsoft's got more events throughout the year. We'll see more as we get closer to the release. Might even do something I could see them doing where there's a beta event where they do an invitational, get some streamers involved, play some Halo before the release happens, start to get that stuff spread as well. I suspect we'll get some stuff like that. After that, we got a trailer for Outer Worlds 2, which was, to be honest, pretty fucking funny. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It memes the fuck out of the entire, E3 trailer memes, like just the idea that everything is like the slow motion and doesn't actually look like it represents anything, and they make fun about how the fact that that most developers do it because they haven't actually started the game yet, but they have to get a trailer out anyway. It's kind of a funny trailer, definitely worth looking at even if you don't give a fuck about the game. Following that, we got Age of Empires 4 actually made an appearance at the Microsoft event, and was announced with a proper trailer. Looked good. A lot of people were excited about that. A couple of StarCraft streamers are also playing Age of Empires on the side, and it's kind of had a bit of a mini renaissance in the streaming world. So I suspect Age of Empires 4 will also likely have a bit of a following in that regard. Then we got the big one for me. I came thrice, and so did most of Twitter, honestly. Forza Horizon 5 got announced, and I wasn't expecting to see Forza Horizon. I was expecting to see Forza Motorsport, but apparently they're really reworking Motorsport after kind of shitting the bed on the last two. But at the same time, Playground Games over here have been smashing it with Horizon, and they announced Horizon 5. Not only that, the shit's coming out this year, October, I think, sometime. No, sorry, November 9th. So that's the release coming up for that. It looks arguably better than any video game I've ever seen. And I'm not even fucking with you. It might actually be the best looking video game ever fucking made. And what really got me excited about that is that those are the guys that are working on the next Fable game. You know, these guys have become, over time, Microsoft's most consistent, high-performing, in-house developer. And people were, a little skeptical about, why would you give the Forza Horizon guys Fable, but you take one look at this fucking video game, you're like, fuck it. The game could suck balls. If the world looks this good, who cares? It's kind of what it comes down to. Have you seen this trailer, Mr. Black?
I have.
Okay.
I almost watched everything.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed. So, if you haven't seen that one, watch it, for God's sake. It will, if it doesn't impress you, you are incapable of being impressed as far as visuals go. It's happening in, Mexico, is where the game is is where the location of this Horizon Festival is. They worked with a lot of local artists and stuff as well, to kind of give life to some of the towns and whatnot that you'll be visiting in the game. And they used a whole host of very impressive mapping technology for textures and whatnot. But it really does look fucking wildly good. I'm completely impressed. I don't know. And the crazy thing is, this is still cross-platform. It's going to be available on Xbox One and whatnot. I mean, I don't know how their tech that they're using must be so fucking good at scaling. Because obviously what they showed was running on PC. There's no two ways around that. That shit wasn't running on a Series X or anything that. If it was, they would have been very specific about saying, running on the Xbox Series X. That shit was running on a mammoth computer. But holy shit, did it look good, and I'm very much excited for it, and I will be absolutely playing the fuck out of it when it arrives, and hoping that my computer holds up to let me juice the fuck out of it as well, because, my God, it's good stuff. What did you think of that after having seen it? What did you think about how good it looked? Were you impressed when you saw it? Was it really kind of...
It's hard not to be impressed by that.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked real.
There was a couple of spots that did
yeah,
kind
it was
of...
just like, holy fuck. So, yeah, it looks good. Racing's just not my jam, but it's very, very, very impressive. I was even more impressed, more so with the scenery and stuff. Like the world, even more than the cars. Like the cars always look good, but the scenery, man, is just crazy.
When they said we went out and filmed the sky in Mexico on a 24-hour clock with a 12K camera, I said, all right, well, now you're just fucking showing off. Because that's what they're using for the skybox in the game. So the lighting looks so good because they went out with a 12K camera and just said, press record. And they came back in a couple of days and fucking used that. So it's no wonder it looks so good. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it, and we'll definitely be playing the shit out of it. But like I said, I'm interested to see how good Fable looks. If this is what they're doing with a racing game, what the fuck do they do with Fable? That shit's gonna look real good. Because I said this about Horizon 4, is that if you slow your car down in the middle of the woods, it looks as good or better than a lot of fucking action-adventure games, but it's a racing game. So, and that you're meant to go fast. You're not meant to stop and, like, smell the roses and take in... Most racing games, if you stop, everything looks like shit, because you're not really supposed to stop when you're racing to get the performance up. They make everything look like crap. But this looks really fucking good. So, yeah, very excited to see how they handle Fable as well from a visual perspective. After that, the last thing that they showed, I think it was the last thing, was the original, a new IP, an original IP from Arcane Studios called Redfall. You probably saw this one as well then. Mm-hmm. That was just a CG trailer. There's no gameplay or anything shown. But they gave you an idea of what you're getting. It's another team-based shooter, PvE, you know, a la Left 4 Dead, but with vampires, and with a little bit more magic under the hood. You know, there were abilities. All the characters had various abilities and skills that were unique to them. And so it's an ability-based PvE multiplayer shooter. You know, you can't tell much from a CG trailer, but all I said to my chat was, at least it's not zombies.
Yeah.
That's all I could say. It's vampires. And so that's not zombies, so it's a thumbs up from me. The last note that I have here for Microsoft is that the thing that was also very impressive, and why Jeff, I think, not long after tweeted about the Game Pass being a crazy value, damn near everything they showed in that presentation was a day one Game Pass release. So on launch day, the shit's showing up on Game Pass. They showed like 30 games in this event. You could theoretically get all the value you need out of it just if you got the 30 games that were at this event on the Game Pass if you just started paying for Game Pass today. And went into whatever, like 2023. So, yeah, like you were saying before, the value has gotten to the point now where, you know, maybe you wait until the end of this year. If there's nothing right now, like if the catalog, which is already kind of impressive, they added even more Bethesda games, for example, like the latest Doom is now on there and whatnot. If you somehow don't have anything on there that you want to play now, by the end of the year, surely there will be something that you want to play. And Game Pass is just like, my God, for like, what is it, $15 a fucking month?
Yeah, it's nothing.
And you're getting these games, like this caliber of game. It's not like they're pulling shit from the archives all the time and be like, this is the only thing we're providing you. It's like this brand new in-house AAA $80 game, day one. Have fun. All the DLC, whatever the fuck, is all there. You know, that's a very compelling package. So there you go. That was Microsoft and Bethesda.